If I do a statement on this, we're really looking at it from the perspective, what can we manage? And for example, we sold part of our logistics portfolio, which doesn't necessarily mean that we have a negative outlook on logistics, but it's not necessarily our focus in terms of our own capability, and it will be too small for us in Germany to really build up. So yeah, we're focusing on office, we're focusing on shopping, and we're putting more weight on hotels. We're touching into residential, but only if it's part of something else and with a trusted partner. That's just as the investment in Frankfurt has shown, where we are doing it together with the developer. So we stay with the classical. I mean, we're actually looking at student housing also, but it's so complex. So, all the respect, if you're successful there, it's so complex. You're looking at sites for 7 million in somewhere in the outskirts of Kassel or whatever. Yeah. It's really difficult. And if you do it as a foreign investor, you need to have a very strong partner. Even if you do it as a German investor, you need to have a strong partner to do it.
Everyone is looking for everything. One can't really say there is a huge demand of office. Of course there is, and of retail. Both have around 80% of the total investment volume in Germany. But if you can get a portfolio of nursing homes, if you can get student houses, which are very strongly and highly demanded, then people will buy that. And if they come from Singapore or if they come from the UK, and especially the German ones, are looking for these kinds of special properties, where investors, let's say 10 years ago, have said one has to have a certain knowledge to manage these kind of properties. No one is talking about that today. Mm-hmm. Everyone is looking at something to invest, and if it is student house, they buy student house, even if they have no knowledge about that. But coming back to the point, I found it very interesting what Roland said, that they are very focused on special cases and cities, of course. But if we are looking for international investors having no knowledge for the German real estate market and what you can spend in, they could of course buy in Frankfurt, they could buy in Munich or wherever at a certain high level of yield, so something around 4%. But if they want to spread their money, and if they want to have an average yield of, let's say, between 6 and 7%, they have to go into the B cities. Again, I come to that point, but they can't do it by themselves. They need an approach where maybe a fund structure is in place which helps them, so the money comes in and the fund with an asset management is buying the properties. So that is the business, I think, for the future for some of the smaller and maybe bigger funds to go for these kind of structures, helping people investing money. The same with Thomas. He's now at the moment maybe doing 50 notarization in the year, but if someone from abroad will do that, he will not.
No chance.
So he needs someone maybe like him doing that for them and have a profitable business in that. So that is something what we maybe have to instill in the German market. It is not existing.
And from your sense, pricing is what is having to drive people into the B and C cities,
yes,
more than the fact that there's
we have a huge yield compression in all cities wherever you will go. From 14 to 15 we had a compression of 0.25%. So there is a need to go, if you want to invest in a way that you have a yield at the end, and a profitable yield, of course, then you have to go into the B cities.